thing for me, but it's something you don't forget too easily.
Well, the scene has been set there by Graham Cunningham, and we can go further into that scene and now speak live to Chantal Sutherland, and she has got a big chance in the Breeders' Cup Classic Game on Dude, and I'm pleased to say that Chantal joins us now. And thank you very much for joining us on the programme. You've done many great things in your career, very varied, but how does it feel to go into the Breeders' Cup Classic with a live chance, Chantal?
Really excited. It's just such a vibe going into, there's a buzz going, this last week at the track with getting ready for Breeders' Cup and all the media. It's great. It's so exciting.
And you're on a horse who's actually got a chance, Game On Dude. He's won a couple of Grade 1s. You've been on both of those. How do you see him going into the race?
He's worked, his last work yesterday was really nice. He went well. And then I guess he'll have one more work. He's carrying his weight well. And he just, really come into himself so well. I went and I spoke to the groom myself and just was having a chat with him, and he said that he's doing better than he ever has. So I'm really happy, really positive, and no matter what the outcome, I'm just so grateful for this opportunity, and I know I'm going to ride my best race, and, the rest, we'll have to see what happens.
And has he given you the feel that he's given you in those 2 Grade 1 wins at Santa Anita? Does he feel the same?
His last race, to me, was so impressive. I mean, I love the Santa Anita handicap because he just had so much guts, but he just had another air about him. He had so much more wind in this last race in the Goodwood. So, I don't know, to me, he just seems to be improving.
And how do you see the field? Obviously, So You Think is a top European horse, and obviously Uncle Mo is in there. What's the current crop like of the older American horses?
Well, it's hard not to like Uncle Mo. I mean, he's pretty impressive on paper, and just I'm kind of hoping that he's not going to be able to get the mile and a quarter after being off. It's going to be a tough race. Game On Dude's just a grinder, so I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know.
And your fella's he's a fairly straightforward rider, isn't he? The way he takes his racing, the way he sits in races, he's fairly straightforward.
Yeah, and I don't want to, I'm not really at liberty anymore to talk too much about it.
Yeah.
And I got him a short leash, so, but I'm just really happy the way he's going.
Would he be your favourite horse that you've ridden?
Probably. He's the most, it's been the owners and the people attached to it, and, my dream of always riding for Baffert and to be in the Breeders' Cup, and just, I guess he's everything that's connected to him. But he is a wonderful horse, and that he's just, to be around him, he's a very humble horse. He's not obnoxious at all, and he does everything that you ask him to do, and he's just so sweet to be around, and what I like about him is he can turn it on when he needs to. And
how does he compare kind of breakthrough moments in your career, Chantal? Where would he sit in that?
He's the one, I think, for sure. He's the one that kept me here in California, and he's my biggest opportunity. I've been in the Breeders' Cup before and rode Mind That Bird, but I've never had something on this level. So this is, my biggest, most exciting horse that I've ever ridden.
And your career as a jockey from Woodbine, you rode at New York as well, and obviously with the Breeders' Cup. Tell us how that came about, how you first got into racing, and your kind of journey to get here.
Well, I was always a show jumper as a kid. My dad owned thoroughbred racehorses, and I never really went to the racetrack too much. I went with my dad a little bit, and then I went to boarding school. I had my horse in boarding school, and then I just kind of was tired of horses for a little while, so I played other sports. I played jockey for Canada, and then I raced downhill skiing, and I trained every winter, and then as a summer job, my dad was kind of like, you need to make your own money, so in university, I decided to gallop in thoroughbred, and I always wanted to be a professional athlete, but I was always too small. Like, I was getting beat up in hockey when I played varsity, and then I just, downhill skiing, everyone started getting faster and bigger. So when I got on the horses and started galloping, I loved the rush of speed, and I was like, wow, this is more fun than jumping, and this is, what I want to do. So I told my dad, and he basically said, no chance, graduate from university and we'll discuss it. So I graduated, And I said, Dad, I still want to be a jockey. And he was like, oh, my God. So he took me to the racetrack and put me under a very nice trainer's umbrella and, made sure I was kind of, went to work and got home early, and he was a little nervous of the danger. And then I just took it from there and decided to seek out Angel Cordero, and he basically taught me the technique of race riding.
And we had Julie Crone. We spoke to her a few weeks ago on the show. How big a role model was she? Were you aware of her achievements when you were getting into racing? And if she wasn't, was there a particular role model?
Yeah, I was aware of her, but as I've become a jockey and the older I've become and the more I've ridden, I realize what she's done in racing is, it's second to none. She is she's done things that is unbelievable. And I can feel her presence now more since I've been in California, and just, the more experience I have, I really appreciate what she's done. And, she's got some big shoes to fill for a little person.
Now, I've also seen on your website you're a jockey as well as an actress and a model. How do you find time for all these things? How do you squeeze in the time?
I don't know. It was really hard to get you guys on the phone because I'm in the middle of doing a commercial and talk to you, but it's crazy. My life is really busy, and usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are times for, the modeling and the acting, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is racing. And training, and I don't have a lot of time. I'm always kind of moving around.
And I've got to ask you, what's the hardest out of riding horses, acting or modelling? What's the toughest?
The most challenging, for sure, and the most rewarding is horse racing. And most of the modeling and the stuff that I've done has come to me because of horse racing.
Yeah.
The new TV show Luck that's going to be on HBO in January, I think people are going to love it. I was so grateful to be a part of it, to meet Dustin Hoffman and Nick Nolte. And then also to, the modeling has been magazines basically for horse racing, Vogue magazine, people. So it all kind of, comes together. But the most important thing for me is horse racing.
Well, you've got a great one going at the Breeders' Cup Game on Dude, and there'll be a lot of UK listeners and watchers looking out for that. So you'll have a bit of a following here, I'm pretty sure. And just before we let you go, Hayley Turner is a huge jockey over here. She's made her mark in the top races.
Awesome.
You've met her, is that right?
I met her. We went to a jockey challenge in Maryland. She's the nicest, sweetest girl. She's I just love. She's girly. She wears high heels. She's so very similar to myself. I just loved her personality. I think she's a great rider. I think that you should be so proud of her, and she just presents herself she's a great, role model, and she just was great at that challenge. I really like her.
Do you see that as well as a familiar role for yourself in the US?
You mean as far as being...
As a role model for maybe future
yes,
female jockeys?
I hope so. You know what? I'd actually love to ride in the UK. I'd love to ride with Hayley at some other meet, wherever she is. I'd like to gallop a horse over there. I would just love to go.
Well, we really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy with your project, and we'll look out for that on HBO. Many thanks for joining us, Chantal, and really best of luck coming up for the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Thank you very much.
So thanks very much there to Chantal Sutherland. She is very busy indeed, filming with Dustin Hoffman, and she's got to squeeze in time to ride Game On Dude. That is the main one. That is the big project going forward to the Breeders' Cup Classic. That will be on Saturday, and it will be live here on Timeform Radio. So thank you as always to Graham Cunningham, a regular here on Timeform Radio's Global Racing Podcast. And thanks to our super guest this week, jockey Chantal Sutherland. Thank you to Nick Hines from TVG, David Redvers and Julie Wood, and of course Gary Crisp, as always with the Aussie view on things. And don't forget, Victoria Derby Day and Melbourne Cup are both live here on Timeform Radio. On Sunday morning UK time, we'll have a full preview podcast available for the big race coming up, and a strong European challenge to look forward to. That Sunday morning UK time. And make sure you join us again next week here on Timeform Radio's Global Racing Podcast, where we'll be going into great detail into each and every Breeders' Cup World Championship race. Make sure you join us then. From me, Alan Dudman, it's goodbye.
Frank local utilises that turn of foot to devastating effect. What a brilliant horse.
Zenyatta, what a performance, one we'll never forget, looked impossible.
He's giving the Queenslanders everything they want. Black Caviar.
Formidable Zarkava qui va s'imposer dans un arc de triomphe exceptionnel.
Rocket Man in front, and he's done it this year. Rocket Man wins the Golden Shaheen.